Chapter 21, Friday Night Miracle. The next afternoon, Friday, I biked over to Grandmother Miss Lacey's. "Complimentary leftovers," I said, dangling a takeout bag. "Right on time, Lobo," Harm said, grinning. "We just finished moving my things over. I'll be a town kid for a while, until Gramps finishes renovating anyhow." We settled in the kitchen with turkey sandwiches. "Good news," I said. "We're unfired." "I know. I called Dale this morning to apologize." He clasped his hands behind his head and leaned back in his chair. He's easy to look at, in a city boy way. "So, Dale's our new leader. Fascinating." The boiler clunked, and the guineas screamed past the window. Grandmother Miss Lacey closed her eyes. "Sometimes I wish I wore hearing aids, just so I could turn them down," she said. "Got any darkroom work I can help you with?" Harm asked her. "I got a ton of possible evidence photos to develop," I said. "Dale will want to see them, and I thought you'd never ask." My phone rang at midnight, late for a kid, but not too late for a client in distress. "Desperado Detective Agency, your tragedy is our delight. How may we help?" "Puppies, now," Dale said, and hung up. The phone rang again. "Parking lot, now." He hung up. Puppies, at last. I scribbled a note for Miss Lana, grabbed my camera, and flew out the door. A few minutes later, Grandmother Miss Lacey dropped Harm and me off at Dale's. "Take plenty of photos," she said, and roared away. Me and Harm walked briskly up the steps, the cold nipping our faces. In the distance, wild howls and high-pitched yips echoed along the edges of the dark forest. "Coyotes," I said. Harm gulped. "How many?" I knocked. "That's the genius of their howl. You can't tell. You only know you're surrounded." Miss Rose swung the door open. "Congratulations on the pups," I said, stepping inside. "Blessed event photos are a specialty of mine." "Wonderful," she said, but a river of sound flowed from Dale's room. He strolled past the open doorway, his guitar strap over his shoulder, his hair tousled. The lamp's warm light glanced off his pale blue pajamas and red rubber boots. Red rubber boots? Harm cocked his head, listening. "That's Patsy Cline's slinked-up version of 'Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey?' We've been working on it for parties." Dale's crystal voice floated to us. "Won't you come home, Queen Elizabeth? Won't you come home? I moan the whole night long." He saw us and stopped playing, his last note hanging like a foot reaching for a drifting boat. "Where's Liz?" I asked, uneasiness tiptoeing across my shoulders as we entered his room. "Where are the pups?" "I didn't have a chance to tell them, baby," Miss Rose said. She put a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Queen Elizabeth is gone." "Gone?" My stomach dropped like an anvil. "We've searched everywhere," Dale said, his eyes filling with tears. "Barn, stable, smokehouse." That explained the red boots. Outside, the coyotes howled. "They're hunting," I thought. They surround quiet as velvet, howl, and jump anything that moves. Liz wouldn't stand a chance. "She'll come home," Miss Rose said in the same fake calm voice she used the day Dale and me went sledding off the stable roof. I clicked into head detective mode. "We'll search, Miss Rose. You pass out the flashlights and the puppy treats, and I'll get some graph paper. I'll make a search grid. Harm, you call Skeeter and Sal, and Thess." "Not Thess," Dale directed. Then he sagged. "Yes, Thess too. Everybody. Tell them to come." In the distance, the guineas cluttered like tree frogs. "I'll need pencils, preferably number 2s, I told Miss Rose, who for some reason had not budged. "All right, everybody, chop chop." Dale, Harm, and me sprang into action. "Freeze!" Miss Rose barked. We froze. "Mo, we don't need to wake up all of Tupelo Landing. We need patience and common sense." But I don't have any patience, I replied. I got to move. I appreciate your willingness to lead, Mo, but the first element of leadership is a sense of direction. Obviously, Queen Elizabeth is doing a good job of hiding. We couldn't find her, but we do need a plan in case the coyotes come near. Mama's right, Dale said. I wish we had the shotgun to scare them away, but we don't. He frowned and tapped his chin. Let's go to the kitchen. A snack? Now? We can pass out the pots and pans, he added, looking at Miss Rose. She started to shake her head and stopped, staring at her son. Good idea. Between the four of us, we can make enough noise to keep those coyotes at bay. And I want to search again, he added, his voice stubborn. A shadow of doubt crossed her face. Coyotes hunt in packs, Dale. They rarely attack humans, but they have. I don't think... This is Queen Elizabeth, he said. This is family. Before she could answer, the guineas charged by, and something bumped at our feet. What was that? Bump. Whimper. Dale slung his guitar onto his back and dropped to his knees. Liz? Queen Elizabeth gave a soft whine from beneath the house and thumped her tail against a floor joist. Thank heavens, Miss Rose whispered. Dale sprinted to the front door. The reedy branches of the hydrangea rustled, and his voice floated up through the floorboards. Liz, come out, girl. Instead, she bumped and thumped her way nearer the center of the house. Dale, you get in the house and leave her be, Miss Rose called, swishing to the front door. If you worry her, she may move again. Call if you need me, Liz, he said, his voice soft. I'm right here. An hour later, we settled in Dale's room, pots and pans by the doors, and PB&J's hands squished flat on our plates. Miss Rose turned on every light in the house and opened every curtain to the night. Like most thieves, coyotes hate light. Harm stood by the window watching. There's no point standing guard against coyotes, I told him, sinking into the beanbag chair. Coyotes are like ghost shadows. You won't see them coming. Dale picked up his guitar. Talk about something else, he said. Let's sing something for Liz. We went through every Patsy Cline song we knew, my voice off-key and wild, riffing like a lovesick hound, theirs winding like vines along an invisible trellis. We finally wound down, and Miss Rose headed for bed. I've been thinking about a new plan for the case, Dale said as he handed our covers around. I say we give the last note we found to Starr and get him to investigate. Good idea, Harm said, and I nodded. We got to think different to get different results, he said. We got to shake up our clues and pour them out again without thinking in advance where they'll fall. He pursed his lips. One more thing. I wanted to tell you Thanksgiving, but I fired you instead. I'd like you to be the pup's godparents. A smile spread across Harm's face. Yes. Thanks, Dale. It's an honor. Me too. I settled into the beanbag chair and pulled Miss Rose's handmade quilt to my chin. And I, Moses Lobo, co-founder of Desperado Detective Agency, lieutenant to Dale and godmother to new pups, drifted off to sleep. Creak! My eyes flew open. The glint of moonlight on a guitar, the aroma of earthworms. Dale's room. I squinted at his empty bed. Harm curled up in a sleeping bag, his eyes closed and his mouth half open. Snore. Where's Dale? Step, step, step. The front porch. I padded to the window just in time to see Dale slip past, his flashlight sending a narrow cone of yellow light flitting across the yard. The hydrangea rustled and I heard a soft bump beneath the house. Then a chorus of whimpers. The puppies. I tiptoed to Harm. The puppies are here, I whispered. We settled on the rug, and leaned against the side of the bed as Dale clunked and grunted his way beneath the house. His voice drifted up. "Liz, where are you, girl?" Queen Elizabeth stirred near the chimney, and Dale crawled toward the sound. "Hey, Liz," he said, clunking forward. "Oh, Liz," he whispered, his voice melting. 6 beautiful babies." The puppies mewed. "Liz, they're so soft and warm. Here's a boy and a girl. She has your nose." Queen Elizabeth whined and talked, her voice round and winding and full of love. Dale sang back so soft I almost didn't hear. Harm's shoulder brushed me. It felt good, being close and greeting new life. "Are you hungry, Liz?" Dale murmured. "I'll get you some breakfast." He bumped toward the crawl space. Harm jumped up and held out a hand. We tiptoed to the front door and into the cold. Morning's light just softened the sky. "There he is," Harm said, pointing to a flashlight beam jabbing from the crawl space. We scampered down the steps. Dale rolled out, stood up, and slapped the dirt off his pajamas. Then he pulled the waist of his pants out from his thin belly and wiggled his hips, letting the dirt fall out of his pants and onto his sneakers. "Hey, Desperado," I said. "That was nice what you said to Queen Elizabeth." Harm shivered. "Yeah, sweet, manly," he added quickly, "but sweet." Dale turned to us and flipped his light up to his face. "Not a good look." "Those are the ugliest puppies I have ever seen in my life," he said. "What are we going to do?" By breakfast time, Dale had dissolved into a full-blown funk. He sat at the table with his head on his placemat. Harm cracked eggs into Miss Rose's skillet as I set a plate of toast on the table. "Even if the pups aren't quite cute, kids will want them," I said. Dale slid a hand toward the toast without lifting his head, like an octopus groping for fish. Miss Rose stirred cream into her coffee. "And they'll pretty up, baby," she told him as she snagged a piece of toast and pulled it toward him. "They need time to open their eyes and perk up their ears. That's all." Someone rapped at the front door. "Who on earth?" Miss Rose murmured. Dale slipped into man-of-the-house mode. "I'll get it," he said, and padded down the hall. Joe Starr strolled in, smiling. "Joe," Miss Rose said, "have some breakfast?" "Coffee would be great," he said, dropping a heavy plastic bag on the floor and swinging his laptop onto the counter. He grinned at Dale. "I hear you have puppies." Starr in a good mood? Odd. "How did you know about the puppies?" Harm asked, pouring his coffee. "Maybe he's psychic, like Liz," Dale said. "No, that's not right." "Nope," Starr said. "He's not bad looking when he's happy. Lana told me when I stopped by the cafe this morning. I have 2 things for you people." He opened the huge plastic bag, and the smell of Old River seeped across the room. "Could you identify this jacket, Rose? It was in the patrol car." She wrinkled her nose. "If you mean is it Macon's, I stitched his name inside." Starr undid the top button to show the label. "That's his," she said, cupping her hand over her nose. "That thing stinks to high heaven. Get it out of my kitchen." "A jacket doesn't prove anything," I said as he tossed it out the back door. "Item 2, he said, opening his laptop. "Surveillance video from a Florida gas station. We found Macon." Starr started the grainy video. Mr. Macon swaggering into a store, pulling out cash, dropping something, shoving the cashier, walking out. "It's hard to see his face," Harm said, squinting. "Macon knows surveillance cameras," Starr said, "but you could catch enough glimpses from enough angles to match it to his mugshots." "What's that he dropped?" Dale asked, watching again. Starr smiled deep enough to show dimples. "That's the last nail in his coffin." Dale gasped. "Metaphor," Harm said quickly. Right, Star said. Sorry, Dale. It's a bloody dishcloth from that drawer over there, I bet, from the day he trashed the kitchen. I frowned. That was weeks ago. I plugged in our new given. Mr. Macon's innocent. Why would he carry that around? Who knows? We're running the DNA, but it's his. For the first time since I've known Dale, I couldn't read a word on his freckled face. Joe, Miss Rose said, sitting up straighter, when was this video made? Thursday morning. Why? She took in a deep breath and let it go. Years fell from her face. Then he's really gone. She put her hand on Dale's. We can relax. You can think about boy things again. Your schoolwork and those puppies. I can think about the farm. But we can't see his face, Dale said. Star snapped the computer closed. The DNA will verify it, Dale. With Macon in Florida, I'm letting investigators there track him. And with the open cases here, I doubt Macon will be back, he said. Sorry, Dale. I know you wanted a different outcome. We found another note, Dale said. I'll get it. It said, not Macon. Impatience flashed across Star's face. Sorry, Dale. Video doesn't lie. That's the same thing he said about the footprints, I thought, as Miss Rose walked Star to the door. We're on our own, Dale said, his voice grim. We better get this right. Lavender rumbled up just after breakfast and parked by the pecan tree. I walked to the porch to greet him. Morning, Mo. Check that out, he said, smiling and pointing behind me. Liz trotted toward the steps, a fat puppy dangling from her gentle mouth. I hustled to get the door. Lavender and me followed her to Dale's room. I'll be back in a few, desperados, Lavender said, peeping in as the desperados trailed Liz to the closet. I need to talk to Mama a minute. Dale beamed as Liz brought her pups in, one by one. Good girl, Dale said as she settled each in the closet. They're already cuter, he announced, relaxing. He followed her out and took his post by the door. Geez, they're funny looking, Harm whispered, touching them. Closed eyes, flat ears. They feel like warm velvet, though. Will they get cuter? There's no such thing as an ugly puppy, I said, hoping I was right. He stood. Mo, Gramps needs our help tomorrow if you have time. Help with what? Dale asked, following Liz and the last puppy in. Here, Liz, he said, offering her jerky from his bedside stash. Extra spicy, just the way you like it. Harm's stomach rumbled. How are boys hungry all the time? Liz gobbled the jerky down. Listen, Harm said, I talked Gramps into repainting the living room, but pink's impossible to cover. It's just so ruthlessly pink. We can get another coat on tonight. If you could help tomorrow. A mission of mercy, I said. What time? After church. I'll fix lunch, and we can paint and plan the next step in case. If you want to. Yes, Dale said, looking up from the puppies. Great. I'll call Miss Thornton and see if we can get us a ride home. Ride with Grandmother Miss Lacey when Lavender's around? I got a better idea, I said, and slipped down the hall. I walked into the kitchen just as Miss Rose settled the black ceramic hat on her ceramic cash frog, and the back door slammed behind Lavender. Where's he going? I asked. He hasn't seen the puppies. He'll see them later, Mo. He has something to do. I watched Lavender stroll away, easy as springtime. But when he rounded the pecan tree and he thought no one could see, his face flushed red. His walk shifted into a skip step, and he kicked the side of the GMC hard enough to set it rocking. I gasped. What's happened? Lavender loves that truck. Nothing to worry about, she said, her voice firm. I don't want you talking this around, Mo. What you see in my kitchen stays in my kitchen. Lavender slammed his truck door and roared onto the highway. Let's go see those puppies, she said. Lavender will be fine. Maybe so, I thought, but he didn't look fine to me. And that's the end of chapter 21.